Hi folks, and welcome back to my World of Tanks replays with the mighty Jingles. We're back on the patch 8.1 test server, and we're looking at only two of them left to go. British high-tier heavy tanks. Today it's the Conqueror, the British tier 9 heavy tank. The successor to the Carnarvon, the tier 8 heavy that I had fantastic fun in. Is the Conqueror any good? I mean, it's gonna have to be good. A tough act to follow coming after the Carnarvon. Well, it's a sort of good news, bad news situation with the Conqueror, but the bad news isn't that bad. Basically, what the Conqueror is it's half a Carnarvon and half an FV215B. The hull of the Conqueror is a Carnarvon, and it doesn't just look like the hull of the Carnarvon, it is the hull of the Carnarvon. It's got exactly the same armour, 130 at the front, 51 at the side, 38 at the rear. So that's kind of the bad news. The armour on this thing is no better at tier 9 than the armour on the Carnarvon at tier 8. So relatively speaking, it is less well armoured for its tier than the Carnarvon is. But 130 sloped at 45 degrees at the front isn't bad, even at tier 9. Sides and rear, on the other hand, terrible armour. 51mm at the side, 38 at the rear. Now, that was the bad news. Now, the good news is that it's the hull of the Carnarvon, but it's the turret of the tier 10 British heavy tank, the FV215B. And here it is. There you go. It's exactly the same turret. And it's not just, doesn't just look like it, it is the same turret. It has exactly the same armour values. The turret is 152 at the front. It's a very, very weak 89mm at the side. And, well, 70mm at the rear, but we're really used to tanks having crappy rear turret armour, so that shouldn't come as any surprise. The good news is that it doesn't just have the turret from the FV215B, it's got the gun as well. Hallelujah, praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition. We finally get a British heavy tank that actually has a heavy tank gun. This thing, the L1A1 120mm gun, and boy oh boy is it a corker. There are two other guns you have to go through to get to it. But if you're smart, there are no other guns that you have to go through to get to it. Because both of those guns, well, the 20-pounder Type A barrel is the stock weapon. The 20-pounder Type B barrel, if you have any kind of sense, you will have unlocked it on the Carnarvon. Now, you don't have to go through either of these guns to get to the Conqueror. You can grind all the way up using the 17-pounder. But you will be very stupid if you do that, because these guns are great. They're still medium tank guns, but they're the best medium tank gun on any of the British heavy tanks, who all have medium tank guns up to tier 8. You can save yourself a lot of trouble on the Conqueror if you use these guns, or at least research them, on the Carnarvon. And to be honest, in my opinion, that gun is the gun the Carnarvon was designed for. It works really well on this tank. And you really don't want to be grinding out the experience for that gun, that turret, and that gun using the quick-firing 20-pounder Type A barrel. I mean, it's not a bad gun, but you're at tier 9 now. It works really well on the Carnarvon. It's starting to get a bit long in the tooth on the Conqueror. You really do want to get this 120mm gun as fast as you can. There are worse guns in the game to be grinding it out with. The poor Russians, when they get to the IS-4, for example, they've got to grind out the experience for their best gun using the 122mm D25T, which you get on the friggin' IS. So, you know, count yourself lucky. It could be a lot worse. Not a terrible gun to be grinding with, but you want to have unlocked it already on the Carnarvon at tier 8. You don't want to have to grind out the XP for that at tier 9 while you're using this. Save yourself some trouble, research all the guns on the Carnarvon before you come to the Conqueror. But when you do get this gun, oh boy, 120mm gun, L1A1, absolutely legendary gun. It has a kind of a slow rate of fire. Now, you'll be using this gun on the FV215B, and the stats on the 215B are improved, quite substantially actually. Here on the Conqueror, it's a 5.71 rounds per minute rate of fire. It's 8 on the 215B. Damage and penetration is exactly the same on both tanks. On the Conqueror, well, on both of them, it's 269mm of penetration and 400 damage, which is fine. Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that. 0.33 accuracy, 1.9 second aiming time, and that seems to be the British thing. That the accuracy and the aiming time is really, really good on most of the tanks. Now, those are the stats of this gun on the Conqueror. Just as a little heads up, when you get the 215B, not only does the rate of fire go up to 8 rounds per minute, the accuracy improves to 0.32, and the aiming time, make sure you're sitting down for this, okay? The aiming time of that gun on the 215B at tier 10 is 1.7 seconds. That is just absurdly fast aiming time, for not just for a heavy tank gun, for any gun. That is absurdly good. And I really hope they don't nerf it. But anyway, back to the Conqueror. So the armour is, same shit, different day. It's basically just the Carnarvon's armour, which is alright. I mean, 130mm of 45-degree sloped armour at the front is not bad, even at tier 9. It's better armoured from the front, at least, than an IS-8, for example. But there aren't many things in the game that have worse armour than the IS-8. So, there you go. It is what it is. However, you get this amazing gun. Now, as for the rest of the stats on the tank, and we have really done this kind of, arse about tit. I normally leave this sort of thing to last, but here we go. Another surprising thing that I found was it seems to have the most health of any of the tier 9 heavies. Certainly, it's at least got the more health than an E75, which really surprised me. 1950 hit points. Now, alright, it doesn't have much more than an E75. An E75 has 1920, but it's still more than an E75, and I didn't really expect that, because this isn't really a big heavy tank. E75 is. So having more health than the E75 came as a surprise. A very pleasant one, I must say. Mobility wise, it's a 66-ton tank, depending on the equipment that you have fitted, and it has a 950 horsepower engine. And there are 3 different engines to go through to get that Rolls-Royce Griffon. However, this engine is also available on the Centurion Mark 7/1, so it will be unlocked if you've gone down the medium tank line, at least as far as tier 9. If not, you're going to have to grind it out on this tank. But the other engines, the Meteor M120, you could have unlocked on the Carnarvon again. So again, this is one of those tanks where you can save yourself a lot of the research trouble by fully unlocking the tank previous to it. So with that kind of engine in that weight of a tank, you get 34.3 kilometers per hour top speed, which is not bad. And in fact, that's almost, it's not quite double the speed of the Churchill Mark 7 and the Black Prince. So while these things don't rush around like IS-8s and IS-7s, they'll feel like they do after you've been driving the other British heavies. The traverse speed is actually 2 degrees a second faster than the Carnarvon, and the Carnarvon didn't feel slow. This thing turns at 26 degrees per second, Carnarvon did 24. The turret turns at 34 degrees, which is a pretty fast turning turret. It's like no German tank you've ever seen. These turrets turn really quickly. And it's got your standard 400 metre view range and 750 metre signal range. Neither of those are anything to get excited about. At this sort of level, anything over 400 is unusually good. Pretty much everybody has 400. So there you go. Those are the stats of the tank. And it does really, really well. Maybe I've just been lucky in the games that I've had. I mean, I've had a couple of absolutely crap games, and I'll show you a clip from one of those, just to counterbalance the good games. But overall, well, yeah, this thing hasn't disappointed me. Now, as far as equipment goes, yeah, where are we? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I've got gun rammer, vertical stabiliser, and vents. You don't want a gun lay and drive on this tank. In fact, there aren't many British tanks you do want a gun lane drive on, because they all have really, really good aiming speed. So screw the enhanced gun lane drive, it's a waste of money on this tank. Vertical stabiliser, with guns that are this accurate and have aiming time this good, vertical stabilisers are, I feel, a good idea. I wouldn't recommend, because the reload is so long, I wouldn't recommend taking advantage of the vertical stabilizer for firing while on the move with this thing, although you can get away with it depending on the range you're firing at. But just to ensure you get that first shot off after you've come to a halt, turn the turret and aimed, vertical stabilizer will help there. Also improve ventilation. Again, this is a kind of slowish reload. It's no worse than most of the other tier 9 heavies, but just improve vents to assist your loader in getting the shell in the breech faster, assist the driver in accelerating faster, and all sorts of good stuff. And of course, large caliber tank gun rammer, because that goes without saying, you want on most heavy tanks. In fact, you want on any tank that can actually fit it in most cases. Crew skills. I've just gone with repairs on the commander. You can never go wrong having repairs on a heavy tank crew in some places, and also the loader repairs, because as always, loader skills are absolutely useless until you get your loader to 100% in his first skill, and then you swap it for safe stowage. Although I haven't noticed any ammo rack problems in this thing, but I'll have to be honest, I haven't really been hit very often in this tank, so it may be the case that a wet ammo rack is actually a good idea in this thing. But in any case, it's always a good idea to give your loader safe stowage once your first skill reaches 100%, because safe stowage is a perk and it's completely useless until it's at 100%, so that's the way I go about it. Clutch braking for the driver. 26 degrees traverse speed isn't bad, but it's not particularly fast either. I've gone with snapshot for the gunner. Again, just accuracy during turret rotation and movement, which is better if you have a vertical stabilizer fitted. And as I said, repairs on the commander, because nothing else really leapt out and said, you need me on this tank. So there you go. I keep talking about what great games I've had in this thing, so I won't tease you anymore. Here are the games. So this was the very first game that I got in the Conqueror, and as always, your first game in any tank, the matchmaker always tries to make sure you're top tier. Surprisingly, although I was playing quite late at night, so there weren't that many people on the test server, but it's surprising in a tier 9 that this is the best match it could find for you. I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm top tier, but there are only 8 tanks on each side. So we've got 4 tier 9s, so do they, 2 tier 8 heavies and an ELC platoon. Their E75 looks like he's crashed, which is bad news for them. But they've got AMX 5120, an E50, a Lorraine, Jag Tiger 88, KV-13. They've got artillery and 1 scout. So, my first game in the Conqueror. Never driven this tank before, don't have a clue how it's going to perform. So heading down into town to mix it up. Hopefully we'll run into some heavies here. See how this thing performs against... Oh, there you go, the E75's loaded in, so good. We've got 2 full teams, well, they're not full teams, but at least everybody is here. And there's first contact, one of the mediums. Oh, it's the Lorraine and the AMX 5120. So the Frenchies are sticking together. And there go our 2 ELCs. And there's the E50. Bam. Look at that aiming time. That is so good. Okay, we've lost an ELC. Can I get another hit into that E50? That one went through his gun mantle. Holy cow. And I'm not firing gold. That's not bad. The E50 ran around the corner and his backup has disappeared. Oh, gets one into me. Actually, yeah, he jammed my turret ring. Luckily, my gun was pointing the right way. Oh, and the IS-6 has set him on fire. And finish him off. Bounced a shot from the KV-13 there. Where did that shot hit? Bounced off the side of the turret. Good hit on the KV-13. See the E50 shooting through my lower glacis, which is sensible. And the KV-13 has killed the ELC and he's hiding behind the fountain. Alright. Can't get a shot at him. Oh, and here comes the other ELC. Oh, Jag Tiger. Right, I'm not going to reload in time, so I'm just going to ram this ELC. Got him. Bounced another hit there. Oh! Driver's dead. This Yak Tiger 88's putting them into me. Where's he hitting me? Yeah, lots of hits on the lower glaciers. At first I said, oh, I can hit that KV-13. Watch this guy starts raging about people shooting through walls to get to him. What a loser. Check out chat. And this Yak Tiger 88 is, he's putting the hurt on me. But we get him. Let's see where he kept hitting me. Yeah, lower glaciers every time. I did initially think he must have been using gold ammo, but he's not. He's just, you know, he knows where to shoot. And there, look at chat. It's American player. Oh, Lorraine puts one into me. And then he misses with his second shot, and I think he's out of ammo now. And there you go, he's dead. All they have left is their artillery and the 5120. And the 5120 is hit. Yep, there's an IS-6 giving him the good news. Lorraine's making a run for it. That AMX 5120 must be out of ammo. He has to be reloading to be retreating from an IS-6 at that speed. And there we go, good hit. And he's not shooting. Yep, he was reloading. Right, oh, here comes the artillery. Guns loaded. Yes, gotcha. That artillery can shift. That is a really fast artillery. Am I going to get around here in time to finish off the 5120? IS-6 hits him. T-95 finishes him off. So there you go. My very first game in the Conqueror. Favourable matchmaking, but 5 kills. Yeah, not a bad first game. Yeah, it's alright. That was amazing. It's alright. That was incredible. What a tank. Look at the result. 5 kills. Nearly got Top Gun. Nearly got Top Gun, and there's only, what? There's only 8 tanks on each side. Wow, check that out. 1,000 damage to that E50. We put a hole through that E50's gun mantle. 269mm of penetration. Oh yeah, I'll have some of that. ELC, yeah, we rammed him. Couldn't be bothered wasting a shell on him. Yak Tiger 88, yeah, we caused him some problems as well. Mind you, to be fair, he caused us some problems. I think he only bounced off us once, so you know, he was firing some well-aimed shots. KV-13, 2 into him when we finally spotted his turret poking over the top of that fountain, and I think somebody was raging about people shooting through walls. Was it him? Was it him raging because he thought we were shooting through the fountain to get to him? I'm not sure. I'll have to... Obviously, I'm recording this bit straight after the battle, so I'll check the replay afterwards just to confirm that. But Lorraine, yeah, 2 good hits into him. Killed him as well. AMX 5120, only the one. Yeah, 1 hit into him. And then the T-95 finished him off. Otherwise, we would have had him. And then blasted that artillery as it came charging around the corner. That was just... And the thing is, I mean, here's the most impressive thing. 14 shots fired. All of them hit. All of them penetrated. Now, there were no tier 10s there. You know, I wasn't trying to put holes in the front of IS-7s or anything, but still, that's a good performance. That's a good gun. No question about it. 3,600 damage. And there were only 8 tanks to shoot at, so the amount of damage that we can do is limited. And that would be a good amount of damage in a game with 15 tanks on each side. I can't complain about that. And we took 9 hits. Mostly, to be fair, from this guy here in the Yak Tiger 88, it looks like, I don't know, I think all of those, well, he only got 4 penetrating hits. That's a shame, because he was certainly shooting those shots right on target, and I think those 4 penetrating hits were all on me. Yeah, I feel a bit disappointed for this guy. I feel like he should have done better. Only 742 damage done before we killed him. But yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. I could grow to like this tank. Although I'll be very surprised. You know, beginner's luck. I'll be very surprised if the rest of my games are half as good as that. But we shall continue. I've definitely got a taste for this tank. I could do well in this thing. Let's see how the games go. And then my very next game looked like this, and it's standard test server rules again. Everybody's tier 10 apart from me and 3 other unfortunates. So this should be more of a test than the first game was, certainly. And it's Wide Park. It's not one of my favourite maps, although it's not especially bad. Let's see what we can do in, you know, a proper game. Now, I did have high hopes for this game initially, although I had just some colossally bad luck. But you'll see what I mean. So, there's only me and the tank destroyers around here, and I do get a good hit into that E100. So that's a good start, but I am the only tank holding this bridge. We've got all these tank destroyers parking at the back here, so these fellas over in the middle and on the other side, they better get their asses in gear. Because if these fellas push, I'm in trouble. But the tank destroyers make short work of this M48. And I'm popping out to try to see if I can get the killing blow, and bang! Look at that. E100 hits me in the side, sets me on fire. That is bad news. Oh crap, and there's an E75. I get a good hit in him, but he gets a good one in me as well. But he's seen the tank destroyers there, and he's in no rush to push forward. He would have died if he had. I mean, he's on 807 now, and that really hurt him. Tiger 2 suffers the same fate. So, luckily, tank destroyers to the rear there convinced these fellas of the errors of their ways. But, whoa, I'm in bad shape. I've taken 2 hits and I'm on 200 health. And that was a big old hit from the E100. He's definitely using the 150mm gun. That was and I haven't actually noticed this AMX-50B coming over at this point. I'm still concentrating on that M48, and I've completely failed to notice this fella. And he's just... I'm not sure if that... Yeah, that Batchat has to be AFK. Oh, we missed that. That was quite important. Let me just rewind and show you a potential problem with the Conqueror there. Okay, so there's the AMX going over the corner. Now, there's an E75 coming through, and the gun depression on this thing is alright. But, and it was lucky that fella actually hit the ground in front of me and then got finished off by the tank destroyers. But as I came up over that small hill there with the front of my tank so high up, I didn't have the gun depression to get the sights on the E75, and all I could hit was his turret and it bounced. But I finally noticed that AMX-50B is there. And it's our M48 who actually finishes him off. But that was a particularly dumb move from the AMX-50B, just putting shots into an AFK Batchat, and ignoring the active tanks who were actually shooting back at him. But I've got the impression that everybody has pretty much abandoned the bridge here and is headed off over to the other side, so I figure if I move up, hide behind the E75, use him as cover, and see if there's anybody there. And the tank destroyers follow my lead. But I'm not anxious to be leading the attack here, not with 200 health. And the scores are even, it's 7-7. But as is often the case in these games, when it starts to go wrong, it goes horribly, horribly wrong very, very quickly. And I missed that shot in the Batchat, and it's only going to take one more hit to kill me. And then look at this. Where did they all go? T-54 there's just hiding around the corner. It's pretty much what he's done the entire game. He's just hidden. And he's not even trying to come out. I mean, he could kill that V4202, but he's just hiding around the corner, and he hid behind us in the start of the game. And now he's hiding again. And he's leaving that Jagdpanzer E100 to his fate, and now he comes out, and he's spotted a 4202 on 56 health. But then suddenly we're losing 812. Oh, God. And it's just too little too late. And the enemy team played well. I can't really argue with the result. We deserved the result we got. So this was a horrible, horrible loss. And right up to the point where I died, it was still a winnable match. I'm not saying we lost because I was dead. Far from it. The guys that, I mean, the tank destroyers that came around there with me just didn't stay together. If they had, they could have killed these fellas, but they didn't. And that T-54 just hid around the side of the building and just let these fellas kill everybody one by one without even trying to help. So yeah, a loss. Really, really unlucky, or really stupid, getting hit by that E100, but he did a monstrous amount of damage. I mean, one hit from that E100 set us on fire and did over 1,000 damage, and I only have 1950. I say only, I have 1950 health, but one hit from that E100 and one hit from that E75 left me on 200 health. So that was a bit unfortunate, but not a terrible game. I've certainly had worse. Unfortunately, the guys that we had left at the end just didn't know how to work together, and so we lost. Enemy team played better than we did. You can't win them all. So this was my third game in the Conqueror. To date, I literally have only played 3 games in this tank, and you've seen all 3 of them, this being the third. And again, it's pretty horrible matchmaking. Everybody is tier 10 except for me. Oh no, there's a T50-2 as well, and 3 artillery, and they've pretty much got the same. It's all tier 10. They have a tier 9 medium Centurion, 3 artillery, and an AMX 1390. So that T50-2 driver's probably looking at this team and this map and thinking, what the hell did I do to deserve this? So yeah, this is going to be another tough game. Let's see what we can do. Now, those, look at the enemy team, they're all tank destroyers. Have you ever seen so many tier 10 tank destroyers in one match? That's just absurd. So they've got the TDs, we've got the tanks. And with that artillery and those tank destroyers, there ain't no way I'm going up the back road on this map. Just forget it. Somebody else can go and do that. Let the mouse go and do that. I am not interested. I've got better places to be. Again, this is one of those maps that I either have really, really good or really, really bad games on. I just never seem to have average games on this map. So we spotted a 50B. Okay. Now I usually miss with my first shot in every game. Oh, crap, he stopped. Well, we still hit him, but we didn't do any damage. We just blew his tracks off. I thought, now lead your shot this time, Jingles. Lead your shot. And I did, and then he bloody stopped. Sneaky French bastard. Oh, we've got their Batchat and their artillery. That's a good start. Okay. Alright, this is looking... Okay, then, if there's somebody waiting in those bushes over there... Actually, if there was, they would have shot at me by now, so... I think I'm clear. Let's get down here. Yeah. Oh, crap. That could be bad. That could be bad. And he's killed our Batchat. Luckily, he killed the Batchat instead of me. Oh, Object 263. Come on. Good hit. There's that AMX-50 Foch. Now, he doesn't have the gun depression to hit me down here, but if he comes out... Oh, Centurion Mach 7. Oof, that was lucky. T110E5 finished him off. 263's dead. We're doing alright here. Well, the team is. I'm not doing especially well. Keeping an eye on the map for that. Oh, hello. I'll have you. Shot went low. That doesn't happen very often. Not with this gun. And somebody else kills him. Okay. Oh shit, look at the map. And I just spot it, and it's a Jagdpanzer E100. Right. Get into cover, turn around, face him. And there's two of them. Okay. So I was watching the map to see if that Foch 155 was going to come down after me. And he did, and he brought a big friend. One more hit. Come on, who's going to reload first? He's... Okay, E50M finishes him off. He definitely had, I think, a dead driver. The rate he was turning, there was something wrong with his tank. There's a good lower glacier shot in the Jagdpanzer E100, but he's got a lot of health. And he's fired at somebody else, and I'll hurt him for that. And I know I can beat his reload. And we've set him on fire. Oh, it really sucks to be you, Fritz. And finish him off before he can aim. So that's good. We have a kill. Hooray. Who've they got left? We haven't taken any damage in this game. What's going on? I'm the only tier 9 here. Well, I'm not complaining. Oh, look at our base. Eh? Enemy artillery. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong bloody base. Right. Okay, so there's a 50-155 and an AMX-50B threatening our base. Artillery's requesting support. Affirmative. Let's go back. Going back with the E50. So I'm not going back alone. And it looks like there's a heavy coming with us as well. Yep, T110E5. Okay, so enough of us to deal with the threat to the base. So far we think there's only two of them, an AMX-50B and a Foch 155. That 50B's not going to last much longer, he's taking a battering. And he's gone. Oh, there's a 1390. Turn the face him, and ninja the killing blow. And where is the... He's on the bloody map. Oh, he's behind us. How the hell did he get down there? Alright, vertical stabilizer, don't fail me now. We're all rushing for the kill. He's the only one left. Gotcha. 4 kills. Tier 10 match. Very, very tier 10 match. Happy with that. Yeah, I think I could grow to like this tank. That's not a bad result at all. And nowhere near as favourable matchmaking as in the first game I had. But look at that. Tier 9, not even tier 10. Oh, yeah, I like the Conqueror. I don't have any problems with this tank at all. And, you won't be surprised to see, walked away with by far the most experience of any tank in that game. And some of that was luck. Just being in the right place to get the kills on those tanks. But, and I always say this, a good tanker makes his own luck. A good tanker looks at the map, looks at what enemy tanks are available, knows where they're going to be, and puts themselves in a position where they can, if not intercept them, then be in a position where they can relocate and take care of problems. You make your own luck by being smart. But I definitely did have some luck in that game. That Jagdpanzer E100, I mean, look at the damage we did to him. 1,760 damage. That was just absurd. And hits received, 0. Didn't take a scratch. Repairs cost nothing. and that Jagdpanzer E100, he didn't even seem to take a shot at us. I was convinced I was going to take a couple of big hits killing this guy, but I don't know. He might have had his problems with his gun. His gunner might be dead. His loader might have been dead. I mean, with a dead loader or a damaged ammo rack in this thing, and that certainly could have been the case. I don't know, so I don't want to criticise too much, but I was certainly lucky. Whatever his problems were, I was lucky that, because it was just me against him. I didn't have any support. Um, and look at that, 1760 damage to one tank from the front. But he didn't even try to angle his lower hull. It was just square on shots in his lower glacis, time and time and time again. Set him on fire. We penetrated his, hit his engine that much. So can't complain about that. And all these guys as well. I mean, some of them were a little cheap. I mean, I got the last shot into this AMX-50B, but this turns out to have been the guy whose traxxer blew off right at the start. So yay for me! I finally, chased him down and ended up killing him, which was nice. Got a good hit in that 263. Probably damaged his ammo rack, judging by where we hit him, which is nice. Just utterly destroyed that E100. Finished off that AMX-50 Foch 155, and that's down to the good gun depression on this thing. The gun depression and the vertical stabiliser are what allowed me to get that last kill, because there were two other tanks rushing for it, and they were faster than I was. Hit another AMX-50 Foch 155. Don't remember that now, but hey, we must have. And then, again, the reasonably good reload on this thing meant that I was able to get the shot into that AMX 1390, and we walked away because we didn't have to repair the tank this time. Even on a standard account, that would have been profitable. But bear in mind how much this thing costs to repair. Even a great game like that, if we died in that game and we had to repair the tank as well as pay for all the shots that we fired, on a standard account you would probably have been in debt on that result. You wouldn't have earned money. So yeah, this is the problem you have with the high tier tanks. You either need a premium tank, a tier 8 premium basically to farm credits with, or one or two tier 5s, whether they be the tier 5 tank destroyers, medium tanks, heavy tanks, whatever. They're good money makers, good earners, because you just can't afford to run one of these tanks unless you have a premium account. And even with a premium account, if you keep losing games, you'll just run out of money. That's just the way these things work. That's the way the economy of the game is balanced. But yeah, I could really grow to like the Conqueror. I'm fingers crossed here. I hope the 215B is at least as good, because the Conqueror is fantastic, and if the 215B is no good, it's just going to be a huge disappointment. So there you go. So, the Conqueror. Yeah, this one gets a thumbs up from me. I've had some absolutely amazing games in this tank. In fact, I think the games I've had in it have been too good. I'm not saying the tank's too good. I think it's a quite nicely balanced tank, actually. It's got a powerful gun, but it's very easy to kill if you can hit it. And certainly in the last game, nobody hit me. So I never really got to put... I mean, it wasn't that I was bouncing shots. Nobody actually hit me with anything. And this is what I'm saying. Have the games I've had in it been too good for me to form an accurate opinion of what the tank's like? Because I've had some absolutely incredible games. I've either had good teams, or I've had hopeless enemies, or I've just played my heart out, and I've had some great results with this tank. It may just be that I had a very lucky streak, in which case I'm sitting here thinking this tank's amazing, and well, it's not. I've just been very lucky with it, but I do feel that the tank did well, despite the fact that I did have a lot of luck with the games I had when I was playing it. I definitely cannot say that. I mean, the armour on this thing is dubious. It's okay at the front, it's pathetic at the sides and rear, but after you get past tier 7, this is something you're going to have to start getting used to with the British tanks, because they're all like that. I mean, the 215B is not much better. Have a look at the armour on that one. Hull armour is, look at that, 130 at the front, 51 at the side, 51 at the rear. The armour is, it's a little bit thicker at the rear. That's it. Otherwise, it's got the same armour as the Carnarvon at tier 8. Yep. So this is something you're going to have to start getting used to. And of course, the turret on the 215B is the turret on the Conqueror, so the turret armour is no better. That's just the thing in the British tanks. They seem to have decent frontal armour, rubbish side and rear armour, very good guns, very accurate, very fast aiming guns. And that certainly sums up the Conqueror. That's just what it's like. And I like that. It's strong in some ways and weak in others, and that to me says balanced tank, and I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. As I said, I've had some fantastic games in this thing, so it's very hard to dislike it. So yeah, I mean, I've had some amazing games in this tank, and I do appreciate that. That is almost certainly going to colour my perceptions, and it's not all down to how good the tank is. It's just how lucky I've been and how inept my enemies have been in some of the games I've had. I've just had a very lucky streak in this tank, but you know, you can have lucky streaks in other tanks and just not be able to capitalise on it. The Conqueror is good enough that when you get streaks of poor enemies and good teams, you can totally just destroy whoever you go up against. And yeah, wow. I mean, you saw the games. This tank is good. Under the right circumstances, this tank is good, but it's not difficult to kill. I mean, I did really well on my first game in this tank. There were only, 8 tanks per side, and I killed 5 of them and damaged 2. But I took a beating. So it's a good tank, it's a powerful tank, but it's strangely vulnerable at the same time. So in my book, that makes it quite nicely balanced. So there you go, the Conqueror, British Tier 9 heavy tank. I suspect this tank may be the sweet spot in the British heavy tank line. It's basically a Carnarvon, which I loved, with a really powerful gun. From here you go to Tier 10, the 215B, and in many ways it's no better than the Conqueror. In fact, in fact, I think the only way the 215B is going to prove to be better than the Conqueror is the slightly improved performance of the gun. Other than that, it pretty much is a Conqueror, just with a rear-mounted turret and a couple of millimetres more armour at the rear. So we'll have to see what that's like when I drive the 215B. But the Conqueror is, so far, the best of the British heavy tanks. No question about it. And coming after the Carnarvon, that's saying a lot, because I really rated the Carnarvon very highly. But the Conqueror, for me, better tank. So there you go, Conqueror Tier 9 British heavy tank. As always, take care on the battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.